Hey yo, and welcome. So, what we'll be looking forward to today is to build an alternative Rise kind of landing page, right? So, the way it works is we're going to have different sections, and these different sections we join them all together to form an actual page, right? So, what you're going to learn basically is there's actually a kind of a smooth scroll effect that we have implemented. And when I start scrolling a bit, you're going to experience this. So yeah, basically we have the hero part. This is navigation to start up with. That is lets you over effect. So when you actually scroll down a bit, you can actually see the smooth scroll effect. So you see the logo section. You see this other feature section. So there's actually the reviewer section. It has this little smooth scroll. It's completely fantastic. So when you scroll, it's just going to, we have the wish ship section, we have the let you get started section, and obviously we have our footer section. So now this is really fantastic. I'm going to like just scroll for you guys to see, how smooth it is. This is just me scrolling to the very end. Okay, fantastic, right? So now this demo will not be complete if we don't have a mobile version of it. So let's quickly check that out to make sure it's actually working as expected. So we have this now, and you can see is they have the navigation, fully mobile responsive. And when we scroll down, so you can see that each of these components are as responsive as can be. Just going to take this, all right, and you can see all the sections coming in nice and clean. All right, without further ado, let's get right in. Okay, so we're about getting right into it, and there are a couple of things we'll be doing here at this particular stage, right? Um, so we already know how the different components will obviously look like, right? So the very first thing we'll do is to head over to this link. I think I'll leave it right down below. And what we're going to do, we want to make sure we clone it, right? So you can click on this one, and yes, have this clonable link copied. So you just click on that list your icon right there. And what we're going to do is you want to navigate to any folder of choice, right? And open up a terminal. I don't know, obviously you should have your own setup or whatever, but it's basically just easy. Open up a terminal in any folder you're interested in. And in that case, we're just going to clone, right? So you can do that with the clone command and then paste in the link right there and hit the enter. So what this is going to do is going to actually clone that particular repository, right? So we have it now, and you can actually see the Rise landing page right here. So you can just click on it, right? And then you have everything. So in our terminal, we can actually seed into the Rise directory. And what we're going to do is we're going to install all the dependencies, right? So you can actually do this using the apt install command. So this is going to install all the different dependencies we have, right? It's going to take a while, and when it's done, we're just going to run dev. Okay, so it's trying to install different packages, and yeah, I'll just wait for it for a bit. It normally takes a few seconds, and yeah, that's it. So now you want to just run development server by using that command. So this is going to actually try to compile the development environment, and we're going to have it in a bit, right? So yeah, so now it takes a couple of time because now you actually see something like compiling pop up. Wait a second, it's going to pop up here exactly. So it's going to compile. The mail is done compiling. We're going to have our fresh startup page, right? So we're going to wait for that to basically, occur. So while we're waiting for that, we can as well just open up the this in our VS Code terminal, right? So there are a couple of ways you can do it. You can just right click and show more options, open with code, or you can definitely just use your terminal and do something. Just going to duplicate this route and do something like code dot, right? So this is going to open up, that particular project in your VS Code environment, right? So yeah, there we go. You can see that actually we have this blank page, and now we can start developing, right? Just to give you guys a quick update, there's actually a new change as of January 31st. Figma has actually removed the option to use the dev mode, right? You can't really use dev mode anymore unless probably you're in the paid plan, right? Yeah, you need to be in a paid plan for some weird reason, and that is one very annoying kind of update they've done. And meanwhile, we can still stick with the traditional approach and try to you know just highlight a particular item, and obviously just get a the size or whatever, right? We can still get a size, we can still get the font family, and so on. So on a very large scale, we are good. We can be able to do that. All right, so now we're going to dive right into it. And the very first thing we do is to set up our environment, right? So here we know we're trying to target the primary color. So I'm going to see, I think this one, right? So primary color, as I always explain, is more of the brand color. That kind of color that's used like in most part of the application, right? So we're going to just grab this and have it as our primary. Though we still have lots of black here and there. Yes, we can just grab it real quick. Just have it selected. So this is it, right? So you can just copy that. Use the Control C command. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to our Tailwind config.js. Here under the extend, we want to make sure we had our colors here, right? So you come here and put in the colors. Okay, not there for some weird reason. Am I missing it? See, it's here. Yes, obviously, it's definitely there. So what I'm going to do is to just put it right here. I think colors, right? So it's actually highlighted. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to actually specify the primary color. Primary, so you want to paste that in there what you just copied. For some weird reason, I always lose track of what I copied. Don't know why that is. So we paste it right in there. So yeah, that we have. There we go. That is actually our primary color. Not sure why this is not auto formatting. Is anything going wrong there? Okay. Disable the tabs. This should just work naturally. Not sure what's going on here. Okay, so we basically have it, and this will be our primary. Let's look for other colors that might be important. This seems like a pure black, isn't it? Yeah, not really a pure black. A black with some touch of, a little touch to it. So I'm just going to grab that, and that's going to signify a very dark color. Right. Don't forget the hash before it. And yeah, I think there we go for the most part. And then we basically have a white kind of color, right? Yeah, pure white. That's completely fine. This is a little bit grayish, or just a white with reduced opacity, maybe. So here, this is it. So we can just copy it, and yeah, we can come here, and we can call this okay, just custom gray. Okay, yeah, there we go. So that's for this. Okay, so yeah, this is actually very similar. It's the same kind of color we're using. And let's check this out. Is this pure white? Yes, it is. What about this one here? B2B1. Yeah, B2B1. Where is it? B2B1. Okay, we already have it. So I think I'm just going to bump this up a little bit for you guys so you guys get to see it more clearly. And if we have this selected, I don't really think it's still black, so it's completely fine. So, but then when you select this on the other end, well, these are just like black with reduced opacity, right? So we'll just worry about it later. Can't really see much here. I think that's why dev mode was pretty important because you can visualize what they all stand for. All right, so let's see. Let's go check this out. And bit okay. So I think we've literally covered all the colors here. So the very next stage is for us to export our assets, right? So we're going to start from the navigation right here. We have this little logo. So you want to click on the export icon down below, click on the preview button, and you want to export that, right? So always like a rule of thumb, I always try to rename everything I export, right? That way you can keep track of them way better. So we can just call this the rise logo, right? So yeah, the other asset now is this. This is actually a full-blown image, right? So you can have it selected this way and click on the export. It has some sort of box shadow alongside it, so you want to be, you know, noting that as well. So it's completely fine. So you can export that. Here we have it here, and one want to actually just rename this. So call that hero. Okay, we already have. Do you want to rename div to hero? Oh, we already have hero here. Very strange. Okay, so what I will do is, okay. Oh, lots of stuffs here in my folder. All right, so I think what I will do is to just like clear it off. Yeah, clear them all off for now. I think we can just remove the things that are not important, right? So there we go. We can just rename this to the hero. Right, so now that we have that, we move on to the logo display section. Yeah, we can as well just grab all of this, right? So I believe it's something like a kind of carousel. Yeah, so this is what I normally suggest. You can actually leverage Shadcn for this, right? So Shadcn basically have some sort of carousel. I think I should show you guys. Yeah, so they basically have this kind of carousel, like you can just plug and play. So you can go to the components tab, and then you have the carousel. Where are you? There we go. So yeah, something like this, right? So you can actually leverage this to achieve something like this. So it's completely feasible. And most the good thing about it is actually draggable, right? So you can drag it and do stuff. Okay, so but in this lesson, what we'll just do is to just not worry about all of those and just export it. So now that we have it selected, you can click on the export and then the preview. Let me show it's coming in nice. I think it's actually white on a white background. I'm not seeing much, so let's export it and then we'll rename, right? If I could spell. Okay, so yeah, it's coming in. And then we go to the other section. Now we have this image. Not really an image, we have an image, we have a text on the right side. Oh, there's one thing cool about these two components. You can see that they are literally the same, but just lots of few details, right? So here the text is positioned to the right, while on this side is actually positioned to the left. So that is a good thing. We can actually use one singular component. We can just add some props to modify the behavior. All right, so now that we have that, what we're going to do at this stage is to export the image part we're interested in, which has to do with this for some reason. Right, seems to be much a larger image. I have it selected. Well, let's click on export. Okay, that's a little bit strange given the fact that it's actually within a particular component. Let's see. It's supposed to be shorter, I think. Yeah, like way shorter than expected, I think. Okay, let's see. Good. Can we export this? Let's check that out. Okay, good. I think we can do that. Okay, so we just have to select this section of it and export. Right, so what I did basically, I'm just going to undo so I can show you guys, was to basically have it selected and just drag this part to this part only. That way we know that we have this section selected. Now click on your export and we're just going to export it real quick. And what are we going to call this? They kind of lots of images here. Okay, so let's give them something a little bit not so descriptive because we have lots of them. Okay, so we'll go here and we can just call this, okay, F1. Yeah, then that's completely fine. Right, so yeah, let's undo that design by using Ctrl Z and let's have this selected. Click on export here. So what we're going to do, we're going to do the same behavior we did before, right? So we're going to, like select the entire thing. Yeah, so not like that. Want to select the entire component. Oh, I missed it again. Yeah, okay, like this. And you want to be able to like drag this to the other part. Not sure why it's dragging from the left though. Oh, that's strange. Okay, so the idea was to be able to drag it to the right, but for some weird reason, it's doing the opposite. Let's see. Let's look for the layer. Okay, is this a layer? Okay, let's check that. Oh, that is it. Okay, let's go click on the export. Okay. Not sure about this, but let's export it first. Probably we can, we can remodify it later on, right? I'm going to actually name this F2. And let's check how it's coming out. Oh, quite well. Quite well. So I think the preview wasn't actually giving it much better look, right? So it's okay. It's completely fine that way. Okay, so now that we have the F2, let's go over and track the F3. So we can grab this guy. Oh, this is a div, right? The entire thing is a div. We should be able to go inside, of course. Yeah, there we go. There we go with this. There we go with this. Okay. So this is actually the grouped section. Alright, I think. And we want to export the group. I think this is the way it is. There are lots of shadows in between. So we have to be careful about those, right? Okay, so what I can do though, yeah, you can have it selected, and obviously if you see any shadow you can also just take it off, but from here I can't really see much in the effects part. Okay, now that is, yeah, okay, so what I will do is obviously like export individual component. Yeah, you can actually see the drop shadow, right? So I think it's way too much, so I'm going to take them all off, right? So that's completely fine. The same here with the other one, I think. Okay, let's go there have it selected. That's selected, by the way. Now this one's selected. Okay, so then we'll take off the job shadow as well. Right, so let's, yeah, so this should select both this and this, right? Okay, so let's see how it looks like in a preview now. Okay, so we basically have to obviously group it, I think, using Ctrl J. Okay, so let's check the preview. Okay, yeah, looks way better. Looks way better than before. So I want to export that. So this is going to be the F3. Alright, so there we go. I hope this doesn't take much time, compared to the other one. Yeah, some of these things are just built so wrong that it's very difficult to track where they are. Okay, so you can come in here, right? And yeah, let's export this. So export, yeah, so it's actually coming in as expected. This is going to be our F4. Okay, so all right, so there we go again. So let's have this selected. Okay, not sure how this design was built. So very annoying. Keep clicking all over the place. So you have it selected, and then it's coming in here. So you can just export that. It's going to be F4, F5. Sorry about that. And the same thing applies here, I think. Okay. Yeah, something like that, I think. Yeah, something like that should be fine. So export. Oh, we don't really have much. That's strange. Let's open it up. Oh, there are lots of images. Okay, so let's try this out. Spawn. Okay, now that we have this. Okay, this has to be the F5, F6. Okay, so we have this guy here. And oh yeah, so I wanted to export the actual image of this guy, but for whatever reason, we normally do that with the dev mode, right? So it's very strange to do it now without the dev mode. So taking I just export the little guy, little image there instead. All right. So say man. Okay, so let's come here. And I think what I can do here is to just like export. They're all the same, so what's the point of separating them? Can export them in one go, and obviously just I think this is the group. No, not really. These hold shift and group it. So this is it, and export. So you can just easily call this F7. Okay. Oh, well, we got a different guy. Okay, export. This will be man 2. Alright. And obviously there come some couple of like icons I'm not really taking note of like this. We'll definitely just use React Lucid, for this. It's not going to be a big problem. Not a problem at all. So yeah, obviously just look for a component that does this. So it's fine. And finally, I think this shape is, yeah, so we have, let's get this logo first. Okay, there we go. It's actually white. So this will be the footer logo. Okay, so yeah, we need this shape for some reason. Okay, let's check the preview. What we have. Oh, good. That's what we want it to be. I thought it was going to be something bigger, but that is perfect. So this is going to be some sort of like eclipse, maybe. Yeah, I can just call it eclipse. And we have a gradient shape in between. Yeah, let's check that out. No, not the entire image. Okay, so let's have it selected. Oh, it's actually a radial gradient. Okay. Oh, click on it. Yeah, I think we basically have the properties here. But this would be very tricky since we don't have dev mode anymore. But yeah, something I can do. I was actually thinking of grabbing the actual image, which I can. So what I'll do here is to drag this to this side, drag it away temporarily. So I have a proper view of this. Probably just grab this two element and click on export. Yeah, good. So obviously we don't need the eclipse. You can actually just use this forward. All right, so we're going to actually name this eclipse radial, something like that, since it's definitely a radial gradient. Yeah, so now we've actually, come to the end of the assets exportation, and yeah, right there, I think we are good to go. The very next stage, we can actually start looking into the actual implementation component per component. All right, so we'll just quickly continue, right? So we'll start with the very first little component. So let's have the navigation ready, right? So just going to go to code base. And the one thing I need to point out, I think in the very first section, there was, I think I made a mistake. The color is actually under the extend, block, not outside of it, right? So you have to put it within the, for it to work, right? Yeah, so that makes sense. I just need to point that out. So what we're going to do here now is we're going to go to our components. We have the common, we have the nav bar already, right? And one of the things that we have to do before working on the actual nav bar is to lay out a component the way we want them to be, right? So we're going to go over them one after the other till the very end, right? So what I'm going to do now, going to reduce this a bit, right? Okay, so going to create a new folder called sections, right? So so this section is going to house like all the sections we're going to, be having, right? So I'm going to create a new file, call this the hero section. Professional component export. Yeah, so that's the hero section. And what else do we have? We have a logo group section, which is very, very similar with the hero section. I think I'll just put within the hero section. Doesn't contain much. So yeah, so I think that's completely fine. So we can actually omit that out. So let's create a new section. What do we call this section? And there's quite a lot of images. More time for what's important automatically. What's important section. Something like that, right? What's important. So there's a what is important section. Right, so we have it there, and this is going to contain all the relevant images we have here, right? So all these images, till here, I think. Yeah, I think so. So then we have another section, right? We believe humans can do things. Okay, this is more of a showcase kind of section. So I think I can just like group these in this together, right? Including this as well. Lots of things, not properly grouped anyways, but yeah, so we can actually call this the just like a remark. Yeah, let's have that called the remark section. So we just call it the remark section. What's CSX? Right, we have Shadcn component export. Yeah, so this will actually be the remark section, and it's going to start from here, I think, and here and here. So that's completely fine. And then what about this? We ship often. We ship. All right. We just call this the we ship section. Say okay. All right. So yeah, we ship section, and then I think this is more of the footer, but this is definitely footer, not this one. So get started. You're in charge. Okay. So we could just call this the get started section. That should be fine. Right, so this will actually be the get started section, right? And finally, we have the footer section. All right, so going to do that, and then yeah, so basically these are all the components we'll be working with, including the navigation, of course. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to the app, then navigate to a page. Well, what we're going to do at this stage is to remove everything, right? You don't need it. So meanwhile, you can actually add your main, right? So and then we want to make sure that we, we want to add all the relevant components right within here. So first off, we have the navbar. This will actually be our navigation, right? So we have the hero section, right? And then we have the, let's just follow the order way we created it. Okay, this is the hero section, of course. This is more time what's important section. All right, so what else do we have? What's important starts all the way here and ends here. So I think we believe in emails more like the remark section. All right. Oh, are we missing anything? Okay, remark. Yeah, that's the remark section. Yeah, we have the reship part, reship section, and yeah, so we have the get started. All right, we have the get started section, and finally we have the footer section right there. Okay, so these are actually all the components we've been interfacing with, and we'll just start building them bit by bit, right? So let's see what we have so far. So you can just, yeah, you can actually see that all your component is coming in nice and clean. So if you already put from the starter branch, you have access to this little, navigation, and it's very, very, kind of responsive, right? So if you actually go to a smaller device, you're going to see this, right? So if you do this and you see that it's actually working, so we just have to fix it up. Okay, so let's go to navigation. That's the first thing we'll be worrying about, right? So navigation here, we have the Rise logo and we have some other features. So we just basically have like two components, and we can actually add space between, to justify them. All right, so let's go over there. This navigation. So what I'm going to normally do is I like to close off all the tab, have the current tab I'm working on pinned, and then I can just work on that. It just brings this clarity. So let's get the image as the logo itself. So we have public, we have images. This is where all the images we've exported earlier are actually located, right? So from here, we want to actually worry about a couple of things, right? This is Rise logo. This is how it's spelled. So what you want to do is you want to do images/rise_logo, right? So .svg, right? So Not really, as we just take this PNG right there. So we want to replicate the same thing here in the mobile version. So what we just did is for the desktop view, this is the mobile view. So we can actually just copy and paste that right within here. So we have much more consistent logo. Let's check it out. You can see that the logo is coming in nice and clean. And let's worry about this part, right? So far we have the logo, we have a link, and we have the end part. But in the actual design, we just have start and end. So we don't need something in the middle. So let's fix that real quick. Okay, so you can actually come here and you can see we just have, justify between. So you can as well just take this part of it out, right? So since we already want this to be like a link that we need, we can as well just take this, remove this part, and obviously paste that in here, right? Good, right? So what we're going to do, we'll actually interface it with lots of these features, right? So when you override it, I think it's going to have this little background and stuff. So we'll fix that, right? Or if it's selected, as the case may be. But in our own case, we can actually use the over effect. So features, when you override it, we're not going to have the stuff changing. So we just basically have to, you know, change off this entire thing, right? There should be some sort of background or something. So we're just going to add it. So we can remove this effect. So on over, the BG is going to be this, right? Not sure what it is. We can actually select it. And this is it, right? So I think this is it. It's actually black with reduced opacity to 5%. So we can as well just use that, right? So BG black, right? So and over. Okay, no, we can't really do that because we have to worry about the alpha, right? So all right, so we can just easily just pick that up and use, right? So it shouldn't be a problem. So when you override, you're going to actually see this, right? I think the opacity has changed. Why? This is very strange. So we're not in the demo, so but there's a very smart way for you to do this, right? So we can actually just do X to RGBA, X to RGBA. Just type that in and do the little conversion real quick. What we want to do there is to reduce the alpha, right? So the alpha has to be reduced to 5%, right? And this is our RGBA, by the way. So let's just use RGBA to X. So you can actually just paste that in here. And it's actually like 5%. 5% is 0.05 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that definitely is 5%. So you can copy this X, right? And obviously just paste it here. Right, so yeah, I think that should do it. Let's make sure we're pasting the right thing. Okay, over. Yeah, very good. So it's coming in nice and clean. And you want to make sure that there is actually some padding to the right and stuff like that, right? Okay, so we're going to do this real quick and do over. So padding. So what we're going to do is px. You can do px4 over py2, right? So let's check it out. Okay, something like that, right? Yeah, something like that works. So roundedness, the roundedness here is, yeah, we want the border radius, obviously. Oh damn, it's very difficult working with the dev mode. Okay, so it's kind of rounded, but I can't really get how round it is, right? Yeah, very difficult to find. So what I would just do, I think I'll just eyeball it, for the sake of this. And you want to just do over rounded for, right? So let's check that out. Okay, not really coming in nice and clean. 16, something like that. So rounded 16, rounded. Okay, see something is off. So over rounded. Okay. Oh, rounded. Yeah. All right. So okay, just do resting something like that. Yeah, 16 watts, 16 pixel. Okay, something like that. All right. So I think we should use 8 or 10 as the case maybe. Yeah, something like that. I think. Yeah, that should just that should just be fine. Judging for what we have here. So when you over, yeah, you just have that little effect. So we're going to replicate the same thing across the remaining parts of the link. So let's do that. All right, so just going to copy this and have it pasted here. So this is actually from the design. It's called the pricing. So we can actually replicate the same thing. You copy it and paste it right in here. And it's actually called the manifest. Manifest. So manifest, and finally, I think we have the change log. All right. So yeah, then we have a couple of the links coming in nice and clean, and then we have to worry about I think there are two buttons here, which is the sign in and the get started. Okay, so let's create those buttons. So we basically have our main button. So if you've already put from starter branch, you're going to have access to this button as well. So it has a test prop. So what do we have as the first test? So what I basically have is the sign in. And the other one is actually the get started. Okay, so let's see how our buttons are very big, right? So we have to make it as small as possible. So let's use depends on how it is. The buttons are actually used in different dimensions here from here. So what I would do is to just obviously just modify it, right? So and leave the height. The height seems to be pretty consistent across board. So the height here is like 62 point 34 pixel, right? So originally there's in the demo there's a way you can just specify to use like rem as a unit of measurement, and wow, a lot of things have changed. Okay, so what we're going to do is to actually fix the height. The height is in pixel, so let's fix it. This is actually 34 pixel in height, and let's go to the main button. This is the button and the height, right? So it's like you can just change it here to 34 pixel, right? So you can just do this and you just do this, and let me just do 20 pixel here. Okay, so let's see. So that's actually the height for us, I think. Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, not looking bad. No, not looking bad. So we can as well just play with the width. So the default width seems to be too elaborate. So we can actually just, modify that a bit. So probably just use 85. Yeah, something like that. So let's keep it at 100, right? 100 pixel is fine. Okay, so pretty neat, right? Okay, so we have the get started. We have the sign in, right? They both have their own different, background stuff and all. So let's fix the first part here. There's a little border by the side. We have the drop shadow. Let's click on it here. Yeah, let's click on here. So I think this is the shadow. We don't really have the shadow configuration. That's sad. Okay, so let's just we already know the color. Probably just eyeball it or something. All right, so going to do that now. So you create a new extra prop. This called classes. You can use this to modify how the interface looks like. So BG white, text black, and yeah. So I think it's already rounded. So maybe we have border custom gray or something. Okay, so let's try this out. Yeah, something like that, right? So we're going to top up the signing a bit, right? So it seems this is a little bit more elaborate or intense. So let's add a little border there, right? So this is actually border one. So we want to do 3 pixel. So let's see how that is. Okay, too much, right? So let's do 2 pixel. Okay, 2 pixel, and yeah. So the roundedness on the other end seems more compared to what we have, but I'm not going to worry about that for now. I'm just worried about the color there. It doesn't really quite match what we are having here. It seems to have some sort of shadow or something compared to a border. Alright, let's just do shadow large and see if that makes sense. It does make sense, but not really. So I want to do gray. Okay. So go 400, 500, 300 maybe. Okay, yeah. I think we can just use that for now. I think. Right. So when you override, we don't want to, change the background color here for this case. So what we're going to do is to do where is it? Yeah, there we go. So on over BG white. Okay. So now we basically have that kind of elaborate kind of system, and that is completely fine, right? And what else do we have? What else do we have missing? No, that's all. Fantastic. Right, so let's fix the mobile view, the mobile part of it. So the mobile basically has some sort of logo here that is currently not available, some sort of hamburger, right? So let's see what we're using for the hamburger. So let's do okay, so we're actually like using SVG's hamburger or something. So let's see if the Lucid basically has some sort of hamburger and just use that. So I can just go to Lucid React. Okay, so ideally, think I was looking for the actual website. Oh, this is it. So what we need is the icons. You can click on the icons right there, and let's search for hamburger. Okay, so we can just use this, right? This is a menu, and either use that as an SVG or we use it as a JSX. So you can copy that and have it right here, and don't forget to add the in here as well. Maybe just add its classes. Not really a thing. Right. Oh, we actually have a little bit of animation there. That's going to be an issue. Right. So what I will do in that case is to export this and just save it. Right. Yes. So I think that is way better. So I'm going to copy the SVG and go to images and just call SVG. So you can just paste it in there. Right, so that is pretty decent, and we want to go to images, and then we have the hamburger SVG. Okay, so you can actually see what we have here. It's coming in nice and clean, and there we go. So on a mobile screen, we want to actually reduce the size of the logo. It seems to be too big. Yeah, so let's do that. So mobile, you can actually just be maybe 5 rem, I think. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. It's quite decent. Okay, nice. So now we've officially come to the end of the first screen, right? Why do I feel that the buttons are a little bit like higher in height? Probably the pixel is deceiving us. It's 34, so it's completely fine. So All right, so let's move on to the next one. This has to do with the hero section. So what we're going to do, we're going to actually craft all of this real quick within the hero section component. And the way we do that is very easy. So we'll go to the hero section. You can just have this pinned. You can unpin this or just close it out and close out the rest. Okay, so in this hero section, we're going to want to, scan the layout, right? So what are the components we need? And then we just say, okay, the page starts here and ends here. So we want to, worry about those components. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to first of all just change this to section. All right, and we're going to actually like divide this into the different divs that we have. I'm going to move that there, and here, so we have the first div, right? So we have this for this. We have like a paragraph. We have like two different paragraphs. So we just we'll just be grabbing all the text and pasting it in, I think. Paste it in there, and the same thing here. I'm going to copy this and paste it right in there, right? Same thing happens here as well. This is a second paragraph. And we'll grab this as well and paste it there. So it's definitely going to come together. And then we have a main button. Main button. So you can actually like put this, wrap it this in a div, inside a div, and so we want to import that, and we want to make sure that the text is actually get started. Get started, right? So then let's worry about the image that we have. We put this in a div, and what is specify image? Put it within the source, going to be slash images slash. Oh, I think we call this F1. Not quite sure, but let's check. F1, no, not F1. Hero, I think it's hero. Okay, perfect. So it's actually hero.png. So images hero.png. So I want to actually just do auth hero image. Right, so it's coming in, and obviously we want to just create a separate div right below, and we'll use that as our logo group. So we have a section, going to be an inner section, and this section is going to basically have like a paragraph, which is this. I'm going to copy that. All right, so we basically have a div that has an image. So it's going to be slash images slash. So what do we have? There's like the logo group. I don't know how we name it. Oh, logo group, of course. So that's actually the logo group. PNG. Right. So we can just do auth logo group, right? And yeah, so that will actually do it for us for the most part right here. Okay, so what we want to do is to worry about the background downward, this gradient, right? So, and yeah, even before we do that, we want to actually make sure that this text is coming in as expected from here. And yeah, we can go from there. So let's fix that real quick. Okay, so we have a div that basically has, okay, yeah, this is a div, we can just style it. And now saying the public beta, copy that. Okay, so Lucy basically have like chevron right that we could use. So right is like chevron kind of right. Yeah, you can just grab one of these. So let's do chevron right. and copy JSX. So you can just paste it in there. So make sure you have it imported, not that one. Oops, this one. So yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to actually give this a background of dark, custom dark, and we're going to make sure that everything is coming in as expected right here. There's some py there and something, so there's a py3 and px maybe 4. Let's check what we have. Okay, so that's just it. It's not really a flex component or whatever, so it's more of like an inline flex, so it stays within the line, not just stretch through the end, right? So inline flex should be fine. Okay, so the text can actually be white. Okay, so this is something we have, and then we have some sort of border radius, right? So it's like rounded full or something. So let's do that. Rounded full. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's pretty much decent. And meanwhile, every little component we basically have is like positioned at the middle, which is fantastic. So we can as well just come in here in this section and do a flex column and justify center, I think. Yeah, that should put everything in there. And I think basically all of them basically have some like gaps or whatever, but I'm just going to set up a basic gap of 16 if that works for everyone. Oh, it's not going to work. They have different gap, so I can as well just take out the gap. Okay, so we have the announcing public beta now. So we want to actually make sure that this is actually far away from the top, right? Yes, that's something we want to make sure of. So what we're going to do is to give it some sort of margin, right? So we can just come in here. We have MT32, which is decent. Let's check the mobile. Okay, right? Okay, good. So let's get this guy here. The calendar that works for you. Okay, so no. All right, so this is enter and this is the size. So you can come here and just do. So that's definitely in pixel and yeah. So if it's actually small, I want to make sure that the text is actually to center. Right there, like that. So, and if it's actually, it can actually be from a medium device. While for a very small device, we can as well just do text, like 20 or 35 or something like that. It doesn't have to be that big exactly, right? So we can just do MT8 altogether. Okay. All right. So, let's do the same pattern from top and bottom. So instead of doing MT, we want to just do MY. So that do MT8 and MB8. So margin top and margin bottom 8. Right. So okay. So and then we'll go over to this guy. So this guy on the other end basically has this as a text color. Not sure if we already have that. Sorry. No, we don't. So we can as well just come here and put it right in there. Remember to add the hash. And yeah, so when we have it selected, we need a way to know if it's bold or whatever, right? So let's eyeball it. Looks like semi-bold. Okay, yeah, something like that, right? So yeah, something around that. So it has to be the center as well. And Obviously, we have to just give this one empty, and this one between here and here, we can't even know. But I think it's like one rem or something. So we can easily just do empty4, okay, or my4. Okay, so let's get this guy. And I think the ITA is 56. So the ITA is like 56 pixel. And we have this list suit chevron. So you can just like copy the CSX. And obviously, I'm not sure, but I can do that. It doesn't really come out well. So what you can do, I think there's actually a icon component, right? I think right icon class. Like right icon route. So what does this do? So let's not sure. Let's open up the main button. Oh, that's just a class name. Okay, so the right icon route. Oh, I see. Oh, basically I have to like save it or something. Okay, so it's completely fine. We can as well just put an attract component, whatever. So what we're going to do is to obviously just save this, right? This is an action. Copy SVG, right? Copy or just download the SVG. Alright, so I'm going to just drag and drop this into the images. Oh no. Open the download. Right, so it's open now. So I'm just going to put that within the, put it within the images. So make sure that is actually renamed to an underscore so we are consistent. Once we just rename that, copy what we have there, and yeah, obviously that's going to be our route. So you can close out this. Right icon route slash images, then slash this. Okay, so now for some weird reason it has to be white. Of course. So the width of the button we see here is actually 163.52. Let's fix that. 163.52. 163.52 pixel, I think. So, and we're going to go to our actual chevron, right, and make sure that it's actually white. So you want to fill it with FFF. Okay, so let's refresh this. Oh, did not really fill, not that one. I didn't fill it. So let's see, we have the stroke. Okay, I think they fill, then the stroke is actually, yeah, let's use that. Okay, refresh. Okay, good. So you can see we basically have that, and we have to push it downwards a bit, maybe like 2 rem or something. Yeah, go back to the error section. Okay, so yeah, there we go. So now let's worry about this bad guy, the image itself. So this image is supposed to be the middle, the way it is, and it's going to be far away from the top a bit. So we're going to do that. So let's do empty32. Okay, that's pretty much decent. 32 is too far off. It's too far off. We can as well just do 16, I think. Okay, so that is almost like that. So you can see it's coming in nice and clean. You're already like proud of what you're doing and very responsive as well. So while we're doing this, we want to actually make sure that this section, this part basically has this kind of cool background, right? So this part. So basically, I have to look for a way to, group it. So I'm going to do that now. So I can also just grab all of these and put them within this, right? Okay. So yeah, so we need a way to grab this linear gradient as a background or whatever. So let me see if I can drag it out. Okay, it's already dragged out. I can just remove this, doesn't matter, remove this. So now, only the fact that I can't really use dev mode properly, we can as well just improvise, right? This is what I do most times. So we basically have this little gradient, but as an image. Fine, nothing's wrong with that. We can just export this and use this as a background image. So everything will still work as expected. So you want to click on export and export it. So this actually, I don't know what color this is by the way, uh, but it's definitely a gradient. So I will just call it arrow gradient. Okay. So now that we have it, you want to make sure that it's actually, you put it within your project, and I'm just going to drag and drop it there. Right. So let's do the background image real quick. Okay, so this word you use, you can actually just use the Tailwind. There are different options you can use. So you could just use this. This seems to be a very like easy approach. So on the Tailwind configuration, what we've done is to basically use what we have here, right? So it's very straightforward. You go to your Tailwind config and you just do background image, give it a name, whatever you want to call it. This is called arrow gradient, and then we want to actually target images, then arrow gradient, right? So this is actually under images, then arrow gradient.png. So then you're gonna go to your arrow section and you can just do bg arrow gradient, right? That's going to pop it up. And let's specify the non repeat, bg no repeat kind of thing, so it will not repeat itself. So now we have this, right? So we need a way for it to actually, span across the page, right? So let's see. First of all, just inspect, click on this little icon, and yeah, there we go here, right? So we have to make sure this is full. Okay, so let's try a couple of things and see the one that works. So let's do width full. Let's do that. Okay, not really working. So let's see why that is not working. Let me see, bg red 400. Okay, so this is actually the full width, which is okay. We're just putting that for debugging sake. All right, and yeah, so let's go here. Where are we? This, I think. Is it that? No, this one. So we're 4. Okay, so with full that way. Okay, as a matter of fact, I think I can easily just extract this into a component of its own, for proper sanity. So I can just grab this. You can take this off, don't worry about it. Call this the logo group section. So logo group section tsx, and we'll just have it pasted here basically, right? So with full logo group section, and go to your page, we have the arrow section. We can as well just break it in, so don't forget to import it. Okay, so that should actually give us more room like the way we are seeing here already. Okay, so let's go to logo group and fix it. I'm not sure about it, no repeat. Let's move that part. Okay, so that's just going to extend to the very end, just as expected. And we can as well just make sure that this is actually flex column, justify center, item center, something like that, right? So that should do it well for us. So you can actually see that we have the background gradient coming in nice and clean, and then we have our text, and then we have the logo part, right? So yeah, that's something that we're going to do now. I'm going to just undo this, what we've done. Okay, so what else do we have? We have this. This is a text, of course. It's actually, I think we already have this color. There is just a white with reduce opacity, maybe. 65 opacity. Okay, alright, let's do that now. Okay, the size. Let's get the size. The size is actually 22 pixel. Okay, so I just use custom gray. Doesn't matter. Okay, that's almost like that. And just do test center on it. That should be fine. Okay, so the distance between here and here basically is quite a lot. So py we can just do py16, pt16, pb maybe just 8. Okay, and yeah, let's worry about the logo part. The logo section wanted to actually like stretch throughout the entire width, right? So we don't want to have it like separated this way or something. Let's do this. Yeah, still not stretch. Let's try out. Give it a full width. Okay, you can actually see that. Just make sure that it's actually like stretched. For in this case now, it's not really like obvious like stretched to the end, right? But what we can do is to just like justify that at the center. Justify. You can just have a flex. Justify center. That should be fine. Yeah, that's just pretty decent. Not quite different from what we did before, but it's completely fine. Okay, so and then at the bottom, with there's like lots of padding, right? So we need to, yeah, we need to fix that. So I'm just going to undo everything I've done so far to make sure that this design is lapping properly. Okay, that's okay. I promise not to scatter you anymore. All right, so let's add some padding to the bottom. Padding, like I think what we have there is not that much, but we can as well just say padding bottom is 32. Can use that. Okay, nice and clean. Okay, so on a small screen though, this is not looking good. Oh, okay. So what we're going to do is that on a large screen, it can actually be of this color, but on a small screen, it's just going to be black, pure black. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so this is for large screen, a larger screen. So we have the larger screen, and yeah, so originally it's just going to be test black, or we have our water custom dark. We can just use that. Okay, so that means it's not really, yeah, it's not left out. Okay, I have to make sure that it's bold, by the way. From bold. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Yeah, completely fine. Okay, so now that we are almost done doing that, we want to actually make sure that we are moving on to sorry guys, to lab this in properly. Am I missing it? Okay, that's fine. Okay, so now I think that's with that we've come to the end of the hero section, right? we want to move on to the um, more time for what's important section, right? So we want to move it into this section. We just want to have it done, and then easily just transition from that, right? All right, so let's have this guy done. So what do we have here? Just a text and obviously some subtitle. All right, so let's grab our document. Yeah, that's what's important. I think it's just like what important. Remove the S. Okay, so now this is the section that we will be focusing on. We can as well just so we can pin it. We can let go of this one and worry about some of the title and configurations here, right? Okay, so first off, let's give it a background. Background here is like complete dark, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this one. So it's actually custom dark. All right, so we can actually start by naming this the section pg custom dark, right? And we're going to have a div. Yes, so a div with paragraphs here and there. Okay, so copy the first one, paste it in automatically as well. Copy that and paste it in. Right, and then what else do we have? You can also just call this an apostrophe. Okay, so we need a different paragraph for all of this. Okay, so yeah, so this in this can basically just have like one paragraph. Not sure why it is two. Yeah, obviously, so we can just put it as one paragraph and that should be completely fine. And okay, so let's text wide. What's the size of this one? This 40.5. So what about this? This is actually 22 pixel. And yes, it has its own like whatever this is, custom gray. So come here and just your text custom gray, and that's already text white, and I think it's bold, so we'll have to just do text bold. All right, so let's say yeah, something like that, right? Something like that. So they automatically, for some weird reason, seems to be on a separate line. I can as well just break this off. I should take it to a line of its own. Okay, so yeah, that's just it for the title. Possibly. So what we want to do is we want to worry about this component. We want to create some sort of like reusable component, for this, so that we can reuse it here as well, right? So let's create that, right? So I think we can use the same component in here as well, right? Yes, we can do that. Okay, so let's create a component. It's going to be, so put it under the common. So we're going to actually call this a card. So put it under the components folder, create a new folder called cards, and we're going to actually call this like feature card. Feature card. Okay, so this is actually the feature card. So now this feature card is going to have a couple of things. It's going to have the image URL. So first of all, I think I'll just construct the interface. So it's going to have the image URL, which definitely is a string, right? So it's going to have the title, and that's with a string as well. It's going to have the description. That's definitely the string. And there are some that basically has like they don't have description, right? So I think description is going to be way optional, but they just have a list, so it's going to be optional. And then they just have like options. These are definitely optional as well. So it's going to be an array, like an array of string. So an array of string. Right? And we want to sometimes, I think, um, yeah, an array of string. That's for the options. I think options basically have this. Okay, that's completely fine. So if there's no description, we can as well just display without a proper description. So that is correct. So we can just put the type here, iprops, and we can specify the image URL, the title, and the description, and our options. Okay, so now that we have all of this, we want to look into how we can actually like position it in real life, right? So this is a code as we have it. It's going to basically have like two sections, right? Two different compartments. We'll do that with a div. And the first one basically has to be an image, depends, right? You can basically have like, let's pass the class here, reverse. Reverse is actually like is a boolean. So by default it's going to be false. So reverse here is actually false by default. So if you want to reverse, you can do that. Okay, so this is going to be the image. So we have the source slash images slash. Okay, not really. So the source is actually the image we're passing in, right? And then the auth is going to be a feature image, right? And then this is going to actually contain, for the cases, for those that actually has like description, right? It's completely optional. All right, so this is going to be the description, by the way. All right, so, and yeah, that will actually be all for the most part. Yeah, so we did not talk about title. So yeah, so this first one has to be the title, and let's style it. There's always title, by the way, so title is going to be required, not optional. So let's check the size of this title. The size here is, okay, let's have it selected, 30.4. 30.4, copy that. Text 30.4 pixel, right? So that would be our title. And description wise, we can as well just grab this as well, put it here, and description is way smaller. So how one of this selected is actually 18. So what we have there is like custom gray. The first one is just text white and fonts. bold, right? So anywhere can just be 4. Okay, so let's play around this component. Let's use it and see how it's actually coming up. So for those that actually, before I do that, for those that actually has some options, like this one, is going to have the title and it's going to just have options. So options basically is straightforward. So if options dot length is greater than 0, so I want to actually render this part. So I want to render a kind of a div, right? So that's what I want to do here, I think. Okay, so if options the length, options is definitely an array of strings. Why is it complaining? Okay, so it says options the length is possibly undefined. Okay, so if options and options the length. Okay, so what we're going to do is we need to use Lucid to have that little check, right? So go to your icons. Let's just look for a check. Yeah, we can just use this, right? So we're not selective of stores right now. So we just have to specify the color. Yeah, so the color was used here. This is it. So we'll just copy that and paste it right there. Don't forget the hash. Okay, so this is the checkbox, and for each item, right, we want to actually make a loop of the options, right? So we don't even need to specify this. We want to now do, right, yeah. So if options, and we don't even need to look for the length, right? So if options and options dot map option, maybe the index. This can actually be within the separate bracket. Use our arrow function here and display this, right? So that's what we should do. So this can actually be our key. It's fixed, so it's completely fine. So option can actually be here, right? So we can as well just do flex gap 2. So this will actually render all the options in that manner, right? So if we want to position the actual stuff, okay, so let's actually style it. I think it has its own style. Okay, so class text custom gray, and the size here though is 18. Okay, so text 18. I think that should just do it for us. Yeah, that should, right? That should. So I think that is it. Right, let's play around with the actual stuff. So we have an image, then we have a paragraph and a bunch of stuff, right? So all this is supposed to be in a div, right? And then we can now say, okay, so what we can do here is that if there's a reverse, you want to actually probably use flex reverse or whatever, right? So this has to be this way, right? So if reverse, you want to actually just do, so initially we already have and the flex, right? And grab it, okay, which is okay. So if it's actually reverse, we want to just do flex. Yeah, so you can actually do flex row reverse since they're in a row. flex the reverse, and yeah, without it, it does not contain anything. Okay, that's completely fine. That should work. So let's try out our feature card. So both try out our feature card. Let's get the content that will be needed, right? So this feature card is actually present in this first part. So it has some sort of background as well and stuff. So we didn't take note of that though. Okay. Okay, I think there we go. So we have to make sure that the background actually matches what's expected, right? So this will be the background, and this image for some weird reason actually goes all the way to the end. So we'll look for a way to stretch that, right? Let's not worry about that for now. So what we need to put in here is there's a div. Let's create the div for a feature card. So there's a feature card, and we have the image area, we have the title, we have descriptions, we have all those stuffs. So let's quickly fix those, right? So this is actually our data, and it's going to be an array, right? So not really like an array, because we can actually choose to, you know, to modify it. So we could just do the first row. First row data. It doesn't have to be an array. It can just be an object, right? So first row data, the image URL, image. So the image URL here is actually images slash images slash, I think we call it the f1.png, f_1.png. So that's for the first one. Then we have the title, right? So the title in this case is this bad guy, right? Oh god, maybe just copy if that works. Okay, yeah, that works. That's way better. The copy in it bit by bit. So yeah, we can have that. So we have the title, and oh, mess this up. Okay. And what else do we have? We have the description. This is it. So we have the description, and we don't really have like options or whatever they call it, options or reverse, right? So we have the title description. Yeah, so we can also just display this data. So title, image URL, or since we already have it, it's as expected. You can just do this, spread it. What the heck? Oh no. 1, 2, 3, then paste. Okay, so you can actually put it like an object, and that should just be structured relevant form of information for us. Reverse is missing in type this. It's supposed to be optional. Reverse is obviously optional. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so that should work. Alright, so let's check it out. Oh, fantastic. So it's actually coming out as we expect. So this actually be a text, but why is it a background color? Oh, that's strange. So let's go to a feature card. Let's fix that. Text bottom gray. Oh, text, not background. Okay. So ideally, we just make sure that we position this one at baseline or whatever. Right. Okay, so let's try that out. Justify. Okay, so maybe I can just come here and do self, maybe baseline or something. Self baseline, something like that. Yeah, that used to work then. Oh, that might not really work because we actually in flex row, not flex column. Okay, self end, I think. Yeah, yeah, something like that. Something like that. But we just need to like pump it up a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. And that should be fine. Oh, should we just put it at the middle? No, something like this should work. Okay. So now that we actually have a safe end, uh, okay, ideally you can just do maybe margin top or whatever. Right, not sure the one that works best in this case, so scenario. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Why it might actually seem like that is actually because of the width of the text, right? So it's actually having enough room to breathe, which is fine. And yeah, if that's the case, align end, self end just works. Right, so self end works. We just give you a little bit of breathing space. Okay, so we just give you a little bit of breathing space, and that breathing space has to come in here, I think. Right, so margin bottom 32. Okay, yeah, something like that. You can just do it. Okay, yeah, something like that. Along those lines should work fine. Okay. All right. So now that we have basically have that, let's get the background, which is a thing, right? So what I'm thinking is we can as well just okay, might not work because we basically have a very weird border here. And okay, let's give it a background first of this color. So this is it. So that's going to be the background color, right, of the card itself. So we have BG and we paste it right in there. Gonna copy it again and paste it right in there. Mm. Okay, so let's check it out with that background. Oh, you can actually see. Oh, expect it's coming in nice as expected, right? So that's completely fine. So we have a little bit like border here, I think. Right. So what I will do is to just put that rounded feature and that should be fine. Yeah, so rounded small something. Rounded small. Let's try that out. Okay. Alright. Okay, so is there a way to stretch the image part and at the expense of this? If we're doing that, we still have to be very careful because if that's the case, it becomes really problematic. So let's do with 70%. If we do that, it's very difficult for it to grow. Um, flex grow. Let's try the flex grow feature if that works. Yeah, so this should grow at the expense of the other one. Hmm. Yeah, because the images is relatively like quite fixed, so it might be a little bit problematic. So what I would do, I can as well just take it off for now and have it this way, right? So what we need to make sure that it's actually responsive, right? So and okay, so yeah, as I was saying, we just basically have to make sure that it's different, right? So we can just do uh, column MD place or something like that. Yeah, so that should be able to position it for us on smaller screens. Okay, so now let's I think we should actually worry about one more thing, and that has to do with the way it's positioned from the top. Okay, so let's do that. Seems card feature one is done. And so just going to add your class name empty8, right? Empty8, and don't yeah, not really sure if it's needed in terms of how it should be separated. So empty8 is fine. Oh, okay, that's just fine. Okay, so what else do we have? Okay, this text a little bit like moved inwards, if you notice. So let's do that. Okay, this part, right? So we can just do margin left, it. So that actually moves it inward, and I think it's just a little bit, away from the top. Not much from what I can see here. So that's not going to be a problem. And obviously, we have to specify the other feature, right? What does it contain and stuff like that. Okay, so this is it. So we can actually just call this second row data. So second row data is going to be F2, and this is going to be the title. Just going to copy that and paste it here. It doesn't have a description, so that's completely fine. We already accounted for that. But what it does have is options. So array of strings. So that's what it basically has. So we basically have to specify the options here. Right, and each of the options basically contains what we'll be having here. So we just do say, paste that in. Let's grab the other one, control that and paste that in as well. So also with this, paste that in, and I think this one, copy and paste it in. So these are actually our options. So what we're going to do something very like similar. So margin top in this case going to be very lenient, maybe like 2. Doesn't really contain much, and we just want to pass in the second row data. Okay, so now the difference, now we have to reverse it, right? So basically I have to reverse that. F2 and reverse. So feature called reverse equal to true. Let's check this out. Reversing to true. It's not working. Yeah, that is a strange one. Okay, let's see. Maybe not really like that. Obviously, it should be, because there's actually a prop. Yeah, so reverse. Oh, this is flex column, flexible. Oh, okay. Flexible reverse. Okay, so how does flex row reverse looks here? That's supposed to work. That's the behavior I wanted. Okay. So if reverse is true, in this option we have reverse true. Reverse is true. So if reverse, run this. Else, okay, it could be. Okay. So this is actually for this basically. So I can just do that. So I can as well just take this out. Maybe put it here like that. Put it here like that. Yeah, something like that should work. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Now I think that is a little bit strange. This seems okay, but this is not looking nice. The first part. Okay, let's see why that is. Do we need to put this here? Let's check that. Sure we are doing the right thing. Not really. It should even work like without specifying that. Okay, so let's quickly inspect and see what's going on here. Oh, it's not even flexed. Oh, it's doing flex colon. Fantastic. Yeah, that's definitely a bug. Is there flex column anywhere? So this flex colon. Oh, I see. That's for small screen, I think. For an extra small screen. Okay. Oh, all right. That was the bug. Okay, so that is actually coming in as expected, right? So let's check it on small screens. Then we have this. So it's pretty much nice. Okay, so now that we basically have a couple of these components and they are working, right? I think that's the good news. It is we can as well now specify. I can create this quite easily, but we need a way to put this in there. We don't have this. This is a custom component. So what we will need to do is we can just like create this on its own, right? So it's different from the rest, obviously. Okay, so let's create a new like component for that one. And is it reused? I think so. We can just use the same component for this and this and reverse it and reverse the order. But what about this? That becomes more stressful. Okay, so not really sure if these are things that that will always change. Ideally, I can just like grab it as an actual image, right? That gives us much more time to play around with it temporarily, right? So, well, I'm not going to actually do it as an image. Probably just create it so its own component, right? So, yeah, let's do that. It's going to be pretty easy. So, what we're going to do, we're going to reuse the feature card in a very like different way. So, we're going to duplicate this. We're going to call feature card vertical, right? So, this is going to be feature. Yeah, so this is going to actually be the feature card vertical, right? So exactly. So this is going to be it. And what we are doing here is it's going to be a little bit different because instead of row, we can just have it as colon, right? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so something like that should just work naturally. And so we have this, and then we have the little test. All right, let's play around with this feature called vertical. If those are the two things we are changing. Okay, so let's grab one of this and paste it here. This is going to be feature code vertical. And now we have to supply the data, right? So this is our image. right? That should be like F3 or whatever, right? It doesn't really have, it's like the first one, I think. So there's a title, there's a description. So this is going to be the third row data. Yeah, so this is going to be the third row data. And obviously F3, the title is this. We just can grab it. Okay. Cross calendar. That data is space there. And then this is the description. You can grab it from here. So this is going to be the third row data, and we want to just specify within here. Let's see what we have. Oh, okay, so we basically have that. So let's do yeah, so let's make sure that it's really following that standard. Okay, so we have this column gap. Okay, so this is actually column, and yeah, just flex column like that. Flex column, what's the point? I just have one. Okay, so we have, oh, no safe end, I think. Okay, so yeah, so this basically, let's say if they are positioned at the center, obviously at the center. Okay, so that means this basically, this and this are actually situated at the center. So you can just do items center. All right, so that's going to give us what we need. But then at the same time, just we can as well just specify the text and have it at the center. Not necessarily at the center, but it's something that we can just do, right? So we can just do all right. So we have the text center there. It's also a description as well. So you specify both, and you have a very working, cool kind of component like this, right? Which is okay. So now we already have this. Let's see if we can use it to simulate this using the reverse. So one thing that is sure is that this is going to be a section or a div, whatever you call it. And we're going to just pass in this and replicate it. And this is going to be the fourth row data. So we can as well just come in here and copy and paste what we have here, and yeah, make sure that's the name. So this is going to be the F4, and let's grab the actual title. All right, so this is the title here, and this is going to be the description, right? Yeah, so we're going to put that there as the actual description. Okay, and what else does this have? Okay, nothing else. So let's see what we have. Okay, so we can see the other calendar part is coming in. Okay, so this actually has to be reversed. Yeah, so we basically have to specify reverse. So reverse true there should take this one up and the other one down, right? Yes, so now we basically have to bring this and this together. right? So you can go to why it's important, come in here and flex column gap it and the flex row. So that should be able to, separate it for us. And yeah, so we basically have it. So now what we want to be, worry about a bit is here, right? So the text might be too long and become extremely problematic. So we need to like add some, level of like padding to the sides. So I think generally you can just do not a big deal, px8 or something. That should be able to add some sort of padding, to the sides. Right, so now we can actually see we have lots of the sections coming in as expected, and you check them on the mobile screen and you see how responsive they are at this stage, right? So this is actually the first win, before we investigate the other part. So when we're done with that, we want to actually move on to these other sections, right? This other section basically just have what we have before, I would say, but a combination of what we have before and what we just did now. So let's do that. Okay, so what we're going to do is come in here. I can just close this out. It's becoming really annoying. So we're going to copy that and paste this right in here. So what we're going to do here, we're going to actually have like what's it called? We're going to have this and we're going to have this, right? Okay, so let's do that. It's not really reverse or anything, it's just the natural one we've been having before. So that's actually like row 1 or something. So I'm gonna copy this. So this is going to be our 5th row. So this 5th row, basically, if you take a look at it, it's going to contain this information, right? So we stop at F4, so we can actually just replace it with F5, and this is the title right here. And I think you can just start with that copied, and let's fill the title in real quick. So then there's a description. Let's just have it highlighted, copy, and that's what we'll replace this with, right? With our description. So come in here and just just do that, right? All right, so we have our descriptions there, and now we have to specify the options, right? So now we're at fortunately we just have like 2 options. We can as well just grab them, and let's grab the second one. Okay, so yeah, that would be it for the 5th row data. So let's do 5th row is yeah, we're using the feature code vertical and obviously reversed. Yeah, so this is going to be the 6th row data. So this is going to be the 6th row data. So F6 right there, and yeah, so this is going to be, I think, the actual title. So you specify it in here. And this is our description right here. All right. And then you have to specify the reverse flag. I think you've already done that. Yes, so let's see how it is. And okay, your time focused. Obviously not working as expected. Why did it scheduled Is this smart scheduling links? Sure, that's what I imputed. So sister row. Oh, okay, I see. Sister row data. Yeah, this is fine. So this though is not fine. Yeah, let's see what's wrong there. That's the fifth row data, your focus time, description, and then the options. Description. Oh, we've not really had the one with a description and an option though. That could be the reason for the weirdness. I see. I see. Okay, so if that is the case, uh, I'm not sure why that should be a problem. By the way, yeah. So the fifth row data is here. Let's move the options and see. It still doesn't work with the options, so that's obviously not the issue. So fifth row data, email URL, title, description, and oh, this could be the image interfering. I think. Let's use a different image, maybe F1, and check for the behavior. Obviously, that doesn't work. That is strange. Let's do F2. Images are not reflecting. Now, okay. No. I'm doing the wrong thing. Okay, undo that. I meant this one. Let's do F1. Oh, I see. Maybe we can just comment out the options altogether. Still doesn't work. The same thing applies for descriptions if you take a look at it. So we can just comment that out. Right? And yeah, so somehow just problematic. I'm going to look at this in a bit and I will continue. Oh, something I found though is that we don't even need to specify the self end here. We can just make it optional, right? So because you check the design, this is actually not at the end compared to the way this one is, right? This is actually positioned at the end baseline, but this is definitely at more like the beginning. So what we're going to do, we're going to just create an extra flag here, and we'll paste it right there. And start from beginning is going to be false by default, right? But then if we have a value for it, we don't display this, right? I think that's the point of the entire thing. So we're going to make this into like some brackets, right? And what we do here is obviously if this starts from beginning, you don't need to specify anything, right? But if there isn't, you have to specify the self end part. So I think that alone should be able to resolve the issue, right? So you can come in here, maybe in this part. Yeah, so that extra prop should be able to do it for exactly. You can see that it's starting from the very beginning here. So now there seems to be some level of spacing between here. It seems I don't want to limit the text that we're having here. It's completely fine because of large devices. But then here, the distance between here and here has to be measured, right? We need to, just add a little bit of margin here and there. Okay, so let's go to feature code, isn't it? Yeah, obviously feature code. So feature code, and if we have description, if we have options, we have to do some, margin top. Okay, we can as well just do it here, but I think, okay, we can as well just do it here as well. So we can just do my4, something like that. Yeah, something like that just works. Yeah, that just works great. Okay, So now we have, okay, the distance between here and here seems kind of like smaller compared to what we're having, right? So we can as well, you know, choose our gap criteria. So this gap can actually be 8 or we can just do 6, right? So the same thing apply here as well. Instead of 8, we can just do 6. So that should be fine. Okay, so that should be fine. And yeah, I think that is going to be it for the most part. And yeah, let's worry about this last illustration. It's completely very simple. So what we're going to do is it's like a testimonial or something. What is important, and other what is important, we basically have all of this. And I'm just going to call this a section. It should be a section of its own. And what we're going to do here, we're going to actually specify the ptog and copy all of these tests. So we can just easily grab that and paste it right within here. And this is like quote. We have to make sure we are doing the right one, right? Yeah, quote something like that. Is it ending? Yeah, something like. You can just do that. That should work naturally. And then we have a little bit of div with a okay, we definitely an image. Slash images slash man.png. So we can actually put in our auth here. Reviewer. And then we got to specify some sorts of div here. And just do paragraph and make it. You can duplicate that real quick. Alright, so we'll copy that and paste in here. And obviously, his role has to be documented as well. Right, so the very next thing is that we try to style the actual thing, right? So optimizes meeting. Oh, we missed the first part. I'm going to just copy this again on just this part. Okay, this message me. Not sure. Focus blocks me. And this is very strange. I'm just going to grab the entire thing again, copy and then paste. Some strange stuff going on here. Not sure. It's not copying the first part. What the heck? So we'll copy that and seriously paste that in there. As someone in tech, every minute optimizes, blah blah blah. So we'll just actually the quote. Right, and not sure why this one is even there. It seems to be a very repetitive message. No one to message me. Yeah, I knew something was wrong. Okay, I think it's fixed now. Yeah, I just knew something was wrong, but wasn't sure. So we have the class name, and this is text 22. And yeah, so definitely white. Okay, so the money button can just be 3. Yeah, so here we can just make it like a flex gap of 4 or 3. It's not that much. So this is a div. Basically have this and font board, text white. So we can just grab the same thing and have it pasted here. But this has to be custom gray. Right, and Yeah, let's see what we have so far. Okay, that's pretty much looking decent already. So let's fix the text. It has to be text centered. Alright, so with everything basically. Right, so everything in this section. Yeah, let's justify center. Column item center. Yeah, that should do it. And there's actually some space between here and here, so we can eyeball that and just do body bottom, set it to. Okay. Yeah, the gap in between here and here seems to be much. Empty it. Too much. Maybe 5. And here too. Right, so instead of being sorry, separate padding bottom, we just do py. Okay. All right. So now that we basically have this, we are almost there, right? So we just want to check how it looks on mobile. Okay, looking nice and clean. Okay, so I did quite notice something here with the last part of this section. So I think I'm just going to fix that, right? So it seems the width, the maximum width now is actually 760 pixel. I think we can keep it to that, right? So let's see how we can do that. Okay. I think it was 760. I mean, yeah, 760. This is actually for medium devices. Upwards. Yeah, that should just work. Okay, yeah, something like that, right? Something like that. Okay. Now let's get into this other section. We believe humans can do things, remarkable work. That should be obviously the Remark section, right? So let's work in this. Going to close out the rest and close this out, and I've just pinned. Okay, so we'll go through these ones bit by bit. Okay, so this is section. So we have like paragraphs here and there. So something that is quite cool in the BG of white. Test of is this pure black word? Yeah, black. It's gonna be fine. Okay, yeah. So that's actually would be our theme there. So we have the first paragraph, we have the second one, and we're just going to grab each of the text, copy and paste. So there are 2 paragraphs here separated by yourself. Okay, between yourself and what's important, I think. I'm not sure what's truly important. Is a different paragraph of its own. So with this, right, we can just we can separate that. Okay, so what do we have so far? All right, let's get the size 2.2. Come here. And all right, let's see what we have there. All right, so here and here, we have to have some little margin. MT4 is fine. Okay, so there needs to be a margin here at the top, I think. So let's quickly add that. So like MT8 should also fix that. Okay, and yeah, so we're actually now to the second flow, the second section of it, and let's quickly build this. Remark section. Okay, we shape. This is the part of the, yeah, this is definitely this part. So we create a new section. Right, and this new section is going to basically have two compartments. Alright, so the first div and the second div. So the first has like two paragraphs. Okay. Make sure that we are selecting it. Just copy that. And can paste that there as well. Separate div. Yeah, so the second component basically just have the image, right? Slash images slash. Okay, so this is definitely the large part, maybe F7. Yeah, I think it's F7. Never miss a thing. Very good. So images F7.png features, right? And yeah, there we go. So let's tie this guy, and have any of the tests selected. We see that is actually 40.5. Text black, by the way. Okay, so yeah, and this one on the other end, this should be custom grade, isn't it? If it doesn't exist, you can just create it, doesn't matter. Okay, so come here and text, we'll paste that in there. Don't forget the hash. So let's check the size, 22. Okay, good. So there's a little bit of gap between here and here, right? And that should be like 8 or something. Flex. Scroll. Yeah, 8. Flex, well, I should do it. Okay, we can as well just stretch it and just position it at the end. Okay, just there. Yeah, something like that. So we can as well make this 16, not 26, 16. Okay. So this time between here and here, we can actually just eyeball that. Obviously, I think it's going to be around 16, not 32, if you don't mind. Okay. Alright, so we have the Lenis section. And on mobile, it's as responsive as can be. And we just want to do this. You can see it's tucking in nice and clean. Alright, so yes, another thing I've just noticed on mobile, we don't have to position this at the center, right? We can as well just do this polypholize device, I think, right? Yeah, I think that should do it. So mobile, it can just be like this. We don't have to worry about this being a problem, right? So yeah, that's fixed. Okay, very smart way to fix it. All right, so now we have to work on this guy. This, if you notice, this is actually very similar with what we've already done here. So it's a bit nice if we use the same component for it for some weird reason, right? But since it's just basically, basic, we can as well just reuse the previous component, right? So let's look for it. That should be in the what's important section, I think. This is it. Let's form it into a component, and yeah, we can just call it review card. Okay, so we actually designed the interface, the hypers right there, and then we have this. We have the image. We have this and this. So we have the review, image, name, and the row. Okay, so now we can as well leave the quotes, so we can restructure this somewhere else. So what I will do is obviously create some data for it. So review data. So this is going to be the actual review. So this will be our image. Let's copy this and put it right within here. so this would be the name of the reviewer. Right, and now do we have a name and then the row? That's the name and the row, right? So the row in this case is head of data at Secos. Okay, so yeah, so let's fix this part quickly. So then we can just use this card here. Let's say, yeah, something like that. It's completely fine. So let's spread this props in here. Okay, so let's say, yeah, still works, which is good. And we'll just reuse that component, I think. Okay, we'll grab it here and we'll put it here. So you have this selected and just copy it and I'm going to paste it in here. Oh, copying there is always very problematic. It doesn't work well most times. So what I will do though is to just, oh, these are different tests. You can just grab it from here instead. Okay, and lastly we'll grab the last one. Okay, so this is actually going to be man2, I think, and the name here is Thomas Artsman. And the row is this, right? Okay, that should be good. Okay. Oh, this text. Okay, so let's see. Use dark. It's gonna be use dark text. So it's going to be false by default. If we do have it, right, what we're going to do is change this part, right, of course. So we have to turn this into a JavaScript notation. And so if this is true, you can do this, right? Right, so then we can take this off. So we can also just copy this and Yeah, so that should fix it. So we have delete your setup. Now the next section is the ship section part. Alright, so I think this is a very like reusable component. So I think I'll just grab this and use it. Git navigate. So what I'm going to do is to okay, it's a remark. Yeah, maybe I can just grab this section, I think. Grab that and come here. Change this to a section. Okay, so let's grab the text here. So we have this part, and obviously it's not supposed to be this way, I think. Yeah, that should fix it. Okay. Meanwhile, we can just do text center. Something like that. Okay, so let's have this created. Let's create a single fraction of it and then we'll loop through the entire thing. So let's create data. And let's like feature data. Going to have a rev object and obviously a date and so the date and the actual event. So I just call this events data. Good. Okay, we have it pasted in here. And so we grab the second date. And this is the event. And just minimize this to make it way easier. Okay, sorry about that. That's it. So this is the date here. Okay, so we'll just grab all of them and paste it right in there. And finally, then we'll be having this lets you something. Okay, this should definitely be a component of its own. Okay, so it's like a vertical divider, I think. Yeah. Okay. All right, so let's do that. And lastly, we have this. So what we're going to do, I think we can do, is to add a last flag. Is last. Yeah, something like that. So that flag will allow us, render some dynamic last part of it. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty decent. So what I would do though is to just export this component here. We can export everything if we want. Preview. So what do we call this? Yeah, I'll just call it progress one. Progress icon. Alright, so this is going to be the progress last icon. Right, and what we can do as usual is to grab them and put them within the images. Right. Okay, good. So and also we need the divider or the separator. So we're going to leverage Shadcn here. Okay, so yeah, let's do the installation. You can just paste it here. So just going to install the separator package within our UI folder as always. So yeah, we'll wait for it to so it's going to install in a bit, I think. And why it's actually doing that, we can just proceed. Okay, so let's try building the actual thing. Okay. Okay, so we'll just specify like some random date. Right, so this definitely is already in a loop. And event data. Comma. Events. So just return a div with that. So event.date. So just take it. No. We'll just take it and put it right within here. So the same should happen for the events actually. Okay, and let's tie this a bit. So this is the text. And the hash is there and 22. So we can do 22 pixels. Okay. So there's a color for this, and it's actually very bold. Now, go. Alright, and then what separates this from this is one little separator. So let's check on our separator if it's done installing. Yeah, it's actually done, so you can close that out. And we're just going to grab this component and just obviously use it here, I think. So we need to make sure that it's actually imported, not from Rally's UI, but from here, UI separator. Okay. We have to change the orientation to vertical. Right. And just put in some height there. Okay, so this is like 5. Okay, 5 seems to be too much. Maybe 2. Yeah. So this one between here and here is a little bit padded inwards. So what I can do is margin left. I can just do 4. Let's see. Yeah, something like that. Let's do 5. Yeah, something like that. And it's actually away from the top a little bit. Let's fix that. So the height can actually be 1.5, right? It's up to, yeah, something like that, I think. Yeah. So maybe margin top 1. Okay. Yeah. So margin top and margin bottom just makes it work. In that case, margin Y1 should do it. Okay. So yeah, we have majority of this stuff except the last one, which is this thing. So let's add it to here. So this is the event. So this last here is just true, right? So if that's the case, we don't want something like this. So but what we do want is we don't want to display an extra one right below it here. So we do is last. So you do event that is last, right? So this definitely will change as well. So event that so yeah, progress icon last, something like that. See what we have. Okay. Yeah, I think progress icon. Oh, progress last icon. Progress last icon. Okay, so yeah, that's coming in expected, and then we have this little chevron. So you can definitely leverage Lucid here for that little chevron. And yeah, just type in chevron. Yeah, we can make good use of that, and obviously change the color if we want. So we can put it right here, but based on condition though. Okay, so what's the color here is actually black, so it's fine. So you wrap this in a div. Why do we change this from a p tag to div tag? Because these components are importing may actually be a div, right? You don't want to have a div inside of a paragraph tag, right? So that it's an type pattern. Okay, so now we have this. We can just say flex. Got to if there's any. Okay, so let's go down. Yeah, then you want to do item center. Okay, like that. All right, so that's going to just be in the place for date for us. Just the date in this case. I think, yeah, something like that. So if that's the case, we can just take this and put it here. We change this to a div. Okay. Yeah, so everything here we did, we can as well just do pick it up and obviously add it here. Okay, all right. So now we have what we need. So the color here though has changed. It's actually of the black color, but we can let that go for now. Doesn't matter much. And let's position it. You can see that it's actually in a row format. Let's put it to column. Okay. Let's do half of that gap. This thing is completely fine. Okay, and what else do we have? Okay, so I think now we're moving into this other section, which will be fun, right? But then there's some level of like padding bottom here. Let's do that. Padding bottom, like 32 or something. Come here. Okay, good. So now let's build the get started section. So this is going to be quick, by the way. It shouldn't be something that takes longer. So what we're going to do is to look for for this, and obviously we're no longer in this section. I'm just going to close out everything now. Close that out. Where's the section? Where are you? Show thyself. Okay. Go to the app, not the app components sections. Get started. Okay, there we go. Change this to section. And what we want to do here, by the way, is we need a background image. That is cool. And then we'll just align our text right on top of it. So here we can have a kind of just paragraphs, maybe. So we can grab that, paste it right in there. Sorry. So you can grab that as well and paste it right in there. And finally, we have the two important buttons. So we can also just grab the text and put it right within there. These will come later. So this is the other button, by the way. So we put it right within here, and so make sure it's coming nice and clean. And BG here is white, by the way, and text is actually black. The width, so have it selected, is 224.54. Okay, so let's do similar stuff here, but this is going to be different. So text white, BG, I think primary, and the width should almost be the same thing, so that is fine. Flex, com, 8, MD flex well. Okay, so here, by the way, let's get a color. That looks like custom grid to me. And text 22 pixel. Custom grid. Right, and MT can just be 2, MB can just be 8 or 6, right? Okay, so let's worry about the first one. Let's check the size. Very large. Yeah, that should just do it. And text white. Okay, so now the other most important part of this is the background. So we're going to go to our Tailwind. Before that, let's go to our images. Let's make sure we know the actual background we're using. We have Eclipse Radia, this one, right? So I can just delete this to not be used. We're using this, so I can just grab the actual name, go to the Tailwind config. Where we have background image, you want to make sure that we have this is actually a Radia, so Radia, something like that. So I'm just gonna copy this and paste it right within here and replace the name. Okay, yeah, so let's see the way we use the hero gradient. We just copy the same method and use, right? Yeah, so this BG whatever, right? That's the same thing we'll do here. BJ in our own is actually Radia. Okay, what do we have? It's complaining. Maybe I can take that off, I think. Okay, not sure where this is coming from. A space string. Eclipse Radia. No, that is strange because I can't really get much. Okay, maybe just restarting the server should fix it. Let's try it out. Okay, it did. Okay, I think we're having some errors. Oh, each child of a list should have a unique key prop. Oh, let's check where we're looping. That is a very crucial error we don't want to make. Anyway, we're using .map. Let's check them all. They need to have a key. This one has a key. Good. This has a key. What about this? Oh, it doesn't. Thank you. Just the index, so it doesn't matter. So events index. So they are static elements, by the way, so it's completely fine. Okay, so let's scroll down. Okay, so I think we have our little guy there. What is the height of this section? The height here is like 584. Okay, so I'm going back to the get started. Okay, so we can actually see this is actually like repetitive. We don't want that, right? We don't. So we want to do begin or repeat. Okay, so with full, right? Take it off and check. Okay, so it's not spanning through the entire screen. That's an issue. Yeah, the background. So let's see why that is. Can copy that. And alright, so let's see if we can turn it to a flex container. But it should just work. That shouldn't be an issue for it. Okay. Okay, so I think look for a way to stretch. Okay. Okay, so maybe we need to put everything in a div. I'm not sure why that isn't working. Expected. Okay, I'm just going to look into this and get back. Yeah, so I quickly figured it out by the way. So there was a way you can just use stretch when I checked it out. So you can just use BG cover to stretch it, and that should be able to do it for us. So that's completely fine. And what we're going to do here is to make sure that everything is at the center, right? So can also remove this div, remove this one, and not really stretch. So we can do item center. Justify center. Okay. Not sure why that isn't working. That's strange. Okay, let's remove the BG cover first. Okay, I think I just need to refresh. Server seemed dead. Okay, it's back. Yeah, it just freezes for some weird reason. It happens most times in Nextjs. So what's the height of this little thing? It's 56. So we need to specify the height. 56 pixels. So we want to replicate the same thing on the other button. So let's see. Okay, So it's coming nice and clean. When you over this, we don't want to have this weird kind of background. So, and on over, page is still white. Why is that? Let's refresh this. Okay, it's still there. That's strange. Oh, BG, there's no space in between. Okay, now that is resolved. Okay, so that is good. And on mobile is going to stack properly like this. So let me show that our text is positioned at the center. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Okay. Very good. So now let's actually round it up by creating a footer. This is going to be the last straw, obviously. And there we go. With the footer section. Rename this to section. Well, this is actually particularly like straightforward. What we want to do is to have a list of everything that we need, right? So each of them will have their own listings, right? And for the sake of this, it doesn't need to be much. Const could just be product array of strings. Okay, so these are actually features, and this is the pricing, right? And then we have a change log. Okay, pricing change log. So similarly, we have the one for company. And we have the manifest, we have the community, we have the careers, and finally we have the contacts. And then we'll go over to resources. We have the app center. So we have the reports bulk. We have the terms of use. Then we have the privacy policy. All right. So then in this section, what we want to do is we just have our own div, right? And we'll spread this across, by the way. So we can have two divs. One that takes care of the footer logo. And obviously the text here. Okay, and the right hand part on the other end takes care of a couple of things, right? So each of them has their own unique divs. So but then we'll loop through this to render it. So it has a title, so we have a title product, and okay, so product on map. Okay, can just have here the link and the index. right? And just pure paragraphs. This can be links, later on. You can use a link tag, but for now, we can just keep it as that. So this font medium. So semi-bold. Text custom gray. And obviously everything here is dark, right? Okay, that's custom dark. Okay, so let's see what we have so far. Okay. Okay, so that is it, I think. The product has to be bold. So the gap in between all of this has to be pronounced, and empty4. Okay, yeah, something like that just works. So we have this, and okay, I could have easily done this using the data structure itself, by the way, right? So yeah, let's do it that way, I think. Oh no, don't worry about it. We can just replicate, it's not much. So secondly, we're going to have a then company. Company, and it's going to take in this one, right? And lastly, we're going to our resources. And it's going to take in this one, so something like that. So now that we have all of these guys, they all need to be in a div. Right, and yeah, that is a flex justify between. Apply flex scroll here for it to take in more space. And now that that is done, we want to make sure that there is flex here. Right, exactly. So we have to make sure that it's stretched for the most part. And yeah, so yeah, that's for mobile responsiveness. And yeah, we can just do a gap here, which is it. right? And we can do that as well. Okay, there's actually some spacing between here and here, I think. Alright, so I think for a large device, we can do MX 10, right? Okay, so they'll justify between. Let's try the around. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So maybe we can also just take this off. Okay. Okay, so we can leave it. Justify around. I'm looking for a specific behavior. Okay, good. Exactly the way I wanted it. So that way on mobile still looks great. So then one thing we do is to add a little margin to the top. It's too close, all the way close to the top. So let's fix that. Click on this. Mistakenly clicked on something. Okay. Oh no. Okay, good. Where is my terminal? Okay. My editor is here. Alright, so what we're going to do is to obviously give this a margin top of 16, something like that. Okay, not really margin top, just padding top, I mean. Okay, and at the bottom, 32. Okay, yeah, something like that. Something like that. So now it's about time we start adding some finishing touches to this. And why this is important is because we need a way to be able to add margin patterns to all the sides at once without having to do them manually. Right, so we'll go to page, I think, source app, page.tsx, and here include a div and put everything in there. So we're going to just do px8. Okay, so if we do that, it basically kind of affects the ones that don't really need it. Oh no, that is going to be very strange. Okay, right, so should we put it within component, I think? Yeah, so if that's the case, there are lots of background color, so we can just do it on the per component level. That way it's it's more extensive. Okay, this is okay. So let's go to hero and just do px8. Okay, very good. So let's go to what is component and then what's important. So px8. Okay, so I think not really px8 in a way, but really the cards, right? The feature cards. There's a px8 there. the same thing here for the vertical curls, I think. Yeah, px8. Okay, good. All right, what else do we have? We have this reviewer card. px8. Good. So we believe humans can do great things. Okay, what component is that? Remark. Is it? Okay. And yeah, that's it for the most part. Then ship. So we exit here. Oh no. We have to be very careful here. The pattern is affecting it for some weird reason. Okay. Maybe px4. Something like that. So I need to be sure about this. I'm going to check it on mobile. Something's looking off. We'll fix that in a bit. Okay, so it's still very much looking off. So well, I think we don't really need it on mobile per se, so we can as well just hide it. So what we're going to do is add a class here, I think. Hidden large block. Yeah, something like that, right? Something like that. So let's fix the footer. So px8 and the get started. Yeah, so px8. Oh, we can just make this px4. Okay. Yeah, so let's see what's going on here. There seems to be one component that is of shooting out. Okay, I think this one. As for the marks, it's not supposed to be a problem though. Okay, let's going to investigate that right now. Okay. Let's go again. Okay, I think it's already like working. We don't need that little screw there. So we have to take it off. I think it's coming from this component. We believe humans. Okay, give a space here. And I just like let's take this off. Let's actually debug where it's coming from. Obviously, it's from the Remark component. So I took it off and it's perfect. Okay, so let's fix that real quick. Okay, it seems to be gone. Very weird thing. Okay, so let's reduce the font size here for the get started. Seems to be too big on smaller screens. And what we're going to do is, oh, we have this, right? So we can as well just do md text. Oh, let's do 30 pixel. Okay, yeah, something like that. Looking all good. Maybe this text we can make it a little bit smaller on mobile, and that is we believe humans. Yeah, so 30 pixels should be about right. Good. All right, so great. So I did notice that the hamburger, the mobile links for the what's it called? For the navigation doesn't work. So let's fix that, right? So I'm gonna scroll to the top, and so we need to put in all of this, latest stuff, right? So we don't have them currently. So what we're going to do now is obviously close this out, close this out. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is to perform that minor fix. So go to page, go to navbar, and we just want to copy everything from here, obviously to the end here. And yeah, so we don't need to specify that. Okay, so now you see what we have. So, and one other thing is we don't really care much about the over on mobile, right? So what I will do is to remove all of this. Okay, so yeah, that makes perfect sense. So now our links is coming in nice and clean, and we can be able to see everything that is expected. So yes, so now we want to actually add the parallax effect immediately after this. Okay, glad you guys actually made it out to the final session. So now what we're going to add is just a kind of smooth scroll functionality, right? So we're going to add this to the index, to the page of TSX. Why this is actually important now is the fact that it's very easy to do. So we're using the Lenis library. So here you can take a look at it. We'll just go to the top. So you can just install it. It's actually Typescript compliant, which is awesome, right? So you have to install. If you don't have this already, you want to quickly do that, right? So you can open up your terminal, right, and just try to install. I've already installed it, but I'm just going to do it for the sake of the demo. So it's going to install. So now that we have it here, you want to close that out. So you want to just copy this path of the link, right, and put it there. So what's going to do, you need to actually mark this particular page as a client component, because that's how it's going to, since we're using the use effect, and it's the interactions of the scroll is actually user based. As a result, we have to mark it as a client component, right? So this way, when I refresh and scroll to the top, when I begin to scroll, take a look at it. Very smooth, right? So it actually has that smooth scroll functionality attached to it. So when you scroll, it's cool. So yeah, you can actually use Lenis to achieve that quickly, and that is very fantastic, right? So let me show you how it will look like without Lenis. So I'm going to comment this out, and obviously just refresh. Okay, let me scroll. You can see it's not smooth at all, right? So very static. So I'm going to undo this and refresh it. So you guys see it. You actually see the changes, right? So now that is it. And officially, we've come to the end of this session.